Hey everybody, how's everybody doing? We are live here on Facebook and YouTube. It's Adam and Elsie here to spread the love and hope, helping others prosper every day. And we are excited to be here. We are not your marriage gurus, but we are here to just hopefully spread the love and help others in relationships. And hey, Dad, and really just help people grow, but have a real talk about relationships and what the struggle that we're having in relationships, the disconnect we're having in relationships, and just kind of talk about it as a whole so we can all start elevating our relationship, hey Leica, and really just take it to, like I said, the next level in our relationships. Again, where we don't know, we're not gurus, but we do pick brains of people who have had successful marriages and read books and things like that to just get you guys around or get you pass on that knowledge that we learned to you guys, and we hope you guys share things that you're learning so we can grow as well. Hey, First Lady, and we had a little addition, as you can see. It says, once you choose to love, anything is possible. I want to add that because that is so true. Once you decide to love, it really just kind of conquers everything. And that's what we believe. That's why we say spread the love. Yeah. As you guys can see, got a little new cut. Not as much hair. Hailed her young. And
First lady said nice, cute.
Oh, nice cut. Oh, thank you. See, I didn't even see that. I just had to mention it anyway. I'm just kidding.
He did it himself.
I got to work on it. I'm trying to do it myself. But so the topic, Elsie, go ahead and let them know what it is.
The topic is, does your
I mean, I'll take cute too. I mean,
The topic is, does your spouse make a lot of mistakes in marriage?
Ooh.
And then 3 ways to help.
Does your spouse make a lot of mistakes? Let's talk about it. How many of us have spouses that make mistakes? Oh, you better put your hand down, girl. Don't be putting my business down the street. No, yeah. So, I mean, 3 ways to help. So basically, I'm gonna read this quote off. I'm gonna start off with this quote. And this applies to your spouse, relationships, to your marriage, your work, and your kids. So it says, twice I did good, that I heard never. Once I did bad, and that I heard forever. Come on, that's good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. So let me slow it down for you so you understand. So 2 times I did something good. I did something outstanding. I did something great, and I never even heard about it after I did it. But that one time I did something bad, I heard about that forever. And that's how we typically tend to treat each other. We treat our spouses is that one mistake or something that we hear or that they did wrong, we focus on instead of focusing on all those times, all those things that we did bad. And so the point of this live is really to understand that nobody is perfect. No one is perfect. We all are going to make mistakes. I make mistakes. Elsie makes lots more mistakes. No, I'm just kidding. Elsie makes mistakes. But we have to make room for error. And so these are three ways to help out with that. And it's not going to be to fix them. It's going to really just be to help them out. And so, Elsie, go ahead and kick off. What is number 1?
So number 1 is think of all the mistakes you made.
You want me to go? Okay. So to help them out is think about all the mistakes that you made. I mean, it might help you out so you're not just pushing those mistakes on them, but think about all the times that you have messed up. It might help you realize that, hey, they're not perfect and I'm not perfect. I'm talking about right now. I've made mistakes. So it helps me.
Elsie made more mistakes.
Helps me relate to people because I know where I've came from. I know that I made mistakes. I'm able to relate to my spouse and say, hey, they might have made a mistake this time, but I've made mistakes too. So it's not too big of a deal. It's not too big of an issue.
Yeah, I mean, for me thinking about this, think of all of the mistakes you made. Not really much of what a mistake is. So if I tell Adam something like, you're doing this wrong, I'm not perfect. I would probably make that same mistake as well, or not doing what I want that particular thing to do. Just a different sorry guys, just a different think of what mistakes are made. So when I do something, and then I scold at him, that's I have to think about myself first. Like, I've done this. I know that that I've done this already, and that why would I scold him or tell him something and just give him a hard time.
I can't see that.
Got dark.
Yeah, and so number two. So number two, guys. Sorry, my phone is messing up, and it's getting darker and lighter and stuff popping up. But number two is don't keep a scoreboard. And so what does that mean? Don't keep a scoreboard. It doesn't just apply to sports; it applies to relationships. A lot of times we try to keep a scoreboard of, hey, they did this wrong. Remember that time when you did this and that wrong? And
Go ahead.
go ahead.
So this is kind of like last night where you're comparing with one another. And this, I guess it's something what I just said before that is that you say, you've done this person or you've done this thing, you just not technically don't keep a scoreboard, but when you actually look at it and you're comparing it to your spouse and know that, keep a scoreboard for yourself. So like if I'm doing this to my husband, what have I done that same mistake? So you're thinking, why would I treat him that way? And I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
It's not. I mean, well, more. I mean, that's kind of type one. But the scoreboard I'm talking about is like, so just keeping it where you're not saying that they've made this many mistakes but you've only made this many mistakes. So now you look at them like, oh, I don't make as many mistakes and I'm perfect compared to them. Even though yes they make mistakes, but don't keep that scoreboard. Once they make that mistake, that should go away, and you're not focused on that anymore. And they have a clean slate. They have a new start. And so you're not focusing on those mistakes that they've made.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that, yeah, you're not focusing on, they made more mistake than you did, but I'm saying that for a person thinking about it, like if I'm saying that you already done this mistake, that just adds more. Think about yourself. Like, why are you giving a rough time to your spouse about, they made this mistake? Look at yourself first before you go on and try to,
correct the other person.
Yeah, correct the other person.
Take this log out of your own eye before you try to take the stick out of someone else's eye. And we talked about that. And so number 3, so marriage should be a safe zone. So that this is key. Marriage should be a safe zone for sure. And so what does that mean? Do you have something?
To me, so maybe you talk so I can get my thoughts together.
So I'll say, so marriage should be a safe zone. So I'll share. So you think of if you guys follow, you guys believe, like I said, we talked about this, you believe in Christ and you have a walk with him. You think about Adam and Eve in the Bible. They were literally, when they were together, they were unashamed. And what that meant, and they were naked, what that meant was they didn't have any cares of their mistakes or any issues. They weren't caring about each other's failures. But the moment that they ate the fruit, they became ashamed. It wasn't that they had discovered that they were naked, yeah, but they also discovered that there was failures. They made a mistake. They had doubts about each other, and so they hid because they no longer had that freedom of just walking around. Where in a relationship, the greatest thing that you can find, the greatest thing that you can find is being able to walk in your marriage without being ashamed. You should be able to come home knowing that I can make a mistake, I can fail, but I still have that person who's going to be there with me, who's going to have my back, who's going to love me no matter what happens. I wrote some notes too here. Yeah, you should be able to know that that's a safe zone, and the one you're becoming one with will make room for your mistakes. And so you got to know that the person that I'm walking with, because when you're around someone for so long, every single day, that increases the chance of them seeing you make a mistake. Because none of us are perfect, so we're always going to make a mistake some way or another. And being with this person, 24/7, that's going to increase the chances. So that means you got to leave room for them, because if not, then you're creating a wedge between your marriage or your relationships.
Yeah, so marriage should be a safe zone. Ditto to what Adam said. It's important that you keep your relationship, you know, I mean, we're here talking about relationship, but like privately, where it's not bashing your spouse. Talk about it. I know there's things that Adam and I we talk about before we say something. Sometimes we don't. It just pops in our heads, and we just say it because we won't be offended. We know that we're here because we wanted to share with you guys and let you guys know that we're not perfect and that we're working on things that we talk about. But just make sure that you're in a relationship where they can trust you. You know, if you're in a relationship where they can't trust you, that's not a relationship to even be in. Because if one person can't trust you on something, it's not it it just brings strife in your relationship if there's no trust built. But yeah, so I mean, it always should be a safe zone for each other. I mean, there's a lot of things that we know about each other. There's a lot of things that you know about your spouse or your kids or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And you just gotta understand your boundaries. Your boundaries of telling other people, gossiping about your spouse. You don't want to do that. You want to uplift your spouse. You want to give him, make sure you give him, you want to uplift your spouse when you're talking to about him. Never say negative things about your spouse. Never. You don't want to do that, especially if you have kids and you want to talk about your significant others about each other to your kids. They're gonna see, my dad did this to my mom and I blah blah blah. Just things that they'll see and they'll think that we have an unhealthy relationship.
Yeah, and so and it's funny. I want to tell you guys, even outside of like marriage, people tell. I mean, and for me, they tell me a lot of stuff all the time, like stuff I didn't think they would even open up
And
and
there's
tell
things
me.
that Adam can't tell me because they say that I don't want, I don't want anyone saying anything, which is okay, I guess.
Yeah, but like, so people will tell me stuff, but the reason why they open up and tell me is because they know I won't judge them on those mistakes that they've made, and I just love them for who they are because I know where I've came from, and so when they realize that I'm not going to judge them based off of those mistakes, they're willing to open up, and because they just want someone to have that grace with them, show them that grace, and I'll share a story of like. And like I said, we don't typically share too much on kids because we don't have any, but we have a lot of nieces and nephews. And so one time we were watching our nieces and nephews, and we have a little whiteboard they were all drawing on, and we had a big, I don't know, the big screen TV. It was the old school one and the one with the big old speakers. They were like almost surround sound in those, but they were playing around, and she knocked the whiteboard and it fell on her head, and then it fell into the TV and it cracked it. Now, on a typical response, what we would normally do, whether if your spouse did something and she broke, or you broke your spouse's favorite necklace or something, whatever it may be, our typical response is we get upset and we get angry and we just go off. But I challenge that and say instead of that, show grace. And so in that moment, I showed grace where, yeah, the TV was broken and it created a little hole in that, but I showed grace and she didn't see me get upset. When I could have got upset, and she was expecting it and the other kids were expecting it, but I showed grace in that moment and asked her if she was okay first. For one, I can replace the TV. I can't replace, if she has a concussion or something, but just checking with her and showing grace and saying, hey, I show grace towards her, and the other kids see that, so they're going to start showing grace. There's a point in the Bible, like I said, if you believe in that, where the servant owed tons of debt, and the king showed grace to him, but then he went out and didn't show grace. And once the king found out, he locked that guy up because he got shown grace, but he didn't decide to pay that forward. And when you decide not to pay that forward, you're not going to be shown grace in your life. And then also, even at work, I create, room for grace for people to make mistakes, because when you make mistakes, we all learn and we grow from it. So the more mistakes that we get to make, and we get to grow and we get to learn from it. But when we try to be perfect, try to be these perfect human beings and try to be perfect in church and try to be perfect all these other places, we're almost being fake. And that's kind of the culture that it's been, where we try to create these images of being perfect when none of us are. And it's okay to make those mistakes, especially in a relationship. This is the safest place that you should be able to make those mistakes. Got something?
Mm-mm.
Well, hey guys, we'll go back through them one more time. So show grace. No one's perfect. Twice I did good. That I heard never. Once I did bad. That I heard forever. So let's start letting people know when we hear when they do something good. Let's start bringing that up. Let's focus on that. And number 1 was think of all the mistakes you made. 3 ways to help them prevent mistakes. Number 2, don't keep a scoreboard. And 3, your marriage should be a safe zone. And so, guys, we love you. Again, we're here to just really spread the love and hope, help others prosper every day. We're not your marriage gurus, but just love to just share stuff that we're learning. And if you like, reach out to us. I think I saw a comment on YouTube. Is how do I show grace? How do I do that? How do I think it came really fast. And so how do I forget mistakes? I wouldn't do that. Yeah, sorry, Elsie's pressing stuff. She's trying to stuff up. And it says 8 ways. So if you reach out to us, message us. If you're on YouTube, you can message us, I believe, on YouTube too. But if you're not, go find us on Facebook and you can message. You can put in hashtag Not Your Marriage Gurus on Facebook or YouTube, and you can message us on either one. On our Facebook page, you just go to the Facebook page and message, and you send a message. Some people maybe don't know, but some people ask those questions, and that's how you do it. And I'll send you 8 ways grace should be 8 ways grace may be lacking in your marriage, and you'll be able to kind of almost take a test to see if you're not giving grace. I'll give you an example. One of them is, do you become frustrated over the little things your spouse does? And so that's the question you ask yourself is, do you become frustrated over little things your spouse does? Well, hey, you're not showing grace. So maybe there's a room for work in that department, and then just work on that. Work on that one. I'll give you these 8 ways. Pick one and work on it for 30 days, and your life will change. Again, like Elsie always shares, we send these out to people, but don't come to us and say they don't work if you don't put in the work. Just like marriages work, we talk about all the time. So if you want to work on it, and if you want to ask how do I stop making mistakes, or how do I show grace, well, I'll send you these ways if you reach out to us, because I'm not going to share everything on this video. I mean, we're already at 17 minutes. But if you reach out to us, we'll help you. We'll send you the 8 ways and take an action. But we'll walk through it with you. If you have questions on it, you just keep reaching out to us. But other than that, Elsie, you got anything last thing to say?
No.
All right. Well, we love you guys. We'll talk to you later.
Bye.